I'm Dr. Larry Burke, and this video is the 11th in a series for my monthly blog at www.letmagichappen.com. This month, I'd like to remind us all to be grateful for our most annoying physical symptoms, which may be messengers from our soul reminding us to heal some part of our life where we are emotionally or psychospiritually out of balance. I've become increasingly interested in the concept of symbolic diseases, where every symptom is a metaphor and every illness tells a story. My first experience with this phenomenon occurred through my dad's cancer in 1987, which I describe in the accompanying November 2012 Let Magic Happen newsletter, and also in Chapter 3 of Let Magic Happen Adventures in Healing with a Holistic Radiologist. My first personal experience of this concept came shortly after that, when I had discovered Louise Hayes' little blue book, Heal Your Body: The Mental Causes for Physical Illness and the Metaphysical Way to Overcome Them, which lists a symptom and then a possible metaphysical emotional cause and then an affirmation for almost every symptom you can think of. My first reaction to the book was, it's way oversimplified, this is ridiculously simplistic, and over time I've discovered there's often a nugget of truth in those metaphysical causes that she mentions. And my first experience was actually when I woke up with severe calf pain one morning in Philadelphia. A Charlie horse that went on and on and on for minutes, and I crawled to the bookshelf, pulled the book off the shelf, looked it up, calf pain, and said, fear moving forward. While I was closing on my first house the next day, said the affirmations, it all seemed to fit, my calf felt better, I sold the house bought the house the next day, and it was all fine after that. And that was my first experience of a seemingly synchronistic connection between my symptom and what I was experiencing at the time. The next time it happened, I was working on a big project for radiology, and I had severe hemorrhoids. I looked it up in the book, and it said, fear of deadlines. I said the affirmation. Sure enough, the hemorrhoids lessened. When I turned the project in, they went away completely, and I've never had a serious case since. But those two examples got my attention, that there was something going on in this little book that might be worth looking into further. Years later, I had a more memorable example of going out to the movies with my wife in a drafty theater, feeling like I was getting a cold when I came home, taking lots of Chinese herbal remedies, ginger tea, hot bath, echinacea, nipping the cold in the bud, and then getting up the next morning feeling fine. The next night, having an annoying case of postnasal drip that just wouldn't go away with a persistent cough. I looked it up in the book. It said inner crying. That didn't resonate with me, so I just attempted to do emotional freedom technique by tapping on cough and postnasal drip. Had no success. Coughed all night long, got very little sleep. Woke up the next morning feeling okay. The next night, same thing happened. Postnasal drip, cough, very little sleep. By the time I got to the third night of this, my resistance was breaking down, and at about 2 in the morning I had a severe coughing spell, got acute chest pain, felt like I broke a rib, started tapping on. I have no expletive idea why I have this postnasal drip or the coughing. And in a flash I went back to the scene from the movie, which was Shall We Dance with Richard Gere and Jennifer Lopez, where he's a guy going through a midlife crisis, learning the ballroom dance, and he is attempting to hide it from his wife and daughter. However, his daughter can see right through his whole facade, and it dawned on me immediately that his daughter reminded me of my daughters, who I'd been missing seeing since my divorce a few years before. And when I realized I missed my girls, I started to cry, started to tap on that. and my postnasal drip went away immediately, so the inner crying concept that I was resistant to was right on the money from the book. Had no more cough, slept the rest of the night, and it was very striking and left a big impression on me. Years later, when I was finishing writing up my book, I developed a basal cell carcinoma on my temple and one on my neck, had Mohs surgery, which was fairly aggressive, and removed them, and then post-operatively discovered another lesion on my cheek, which looked more aggressive, like maybe a melanoma. I got very concerned about this, did a lot of tapping, looked it up in the book, and it said, what we show the world. And I realized I was getting ready to publish this book, and I needed to make sure that the face I was presenting was a clean one without any lesions on it, so I went back and edited out of the book any low vibrations or anger or residual negative energies, and started putting iodine on the lesion, which I had discovered as a possible alternative therapy to aggressive surgery. After doing a lot of tapping and a lot of editing and putting a lot of iodine on, it eventually flaked off the day before I was scheduled to go back and see the surgeon again, and went away completely with just healthy skin underneath it. And I see that as a metaphor for cleaning the energy out of the book and presenting the face of the world that I really wanted people to see. Those left lasting impressions on me, but probably the most important metaphorical symptom I've dealt with over the years is my shoulder pain, which I've had off and on for 20 plus years. In looking it up in the book, it says carrying burdens of life, and for me the biggest burden I carry on my shoulder is anger. And I discuss this in great detail in chapter 16 in Let Magic Happen, Adventures in Healing with a Holistic Radiologist, which is titled Frozen with Anger, when I actually developed the frozen shoulder, which is one of the most impressive metaphorical symbolic diseases that I can think of. And I discuss how to do EFT tapping for this in the February 2011 newsletter. You can find information about the book and newsletters and blogs at www.letmagichappen.com. So remember, every illness tells a story, and every symptom may be a metaphor. So with that in mind, let magic happen. Thanks.